Hello guys, today we are going to discuss about IELTS speaking. Basically, IELTS speaking is normally face-to-face speaking. These days we are having, like Zoom session or Skype session as well. But normally the understanding of the IELTS speaking that is a face-to-face informal conversation. Remember that you have to be quite friendly with the examiner as you're talking to someone regarding discussing any ongoing things like your lifestyle, your hobbies and so on, like a friend, so that you will be more comfortable with that. So there are something that you have to work on, the four areas. First of all is the pronunciation. This is the most underrated area by the teachers. Why? Because people are much more inclined toward the fancy words such as vocabulary. It's important. Then they are much more, like inclined and interested toward the grammar. Although it's important, I'm not going to deny it. But today we are going to start with the first and most important thing is the pronunciation. So how can you improve your pronunciation? By practicing speaking in like in a day. If you are a non-native speaker, to try to speak as much as you can with your friend, family and so on. People might think that you're a crazy person while you're speaking, practicing for a speaking with your friends, family, stand in front of mirror. Try to understand that how would you pronounce certain words. These days, thanks to technology, that you can easily go on Google and or YouTube, you can find how to pronounce certain words, right? This is the most important thing that you should learn. How would you pronounce your certain words and what is the intonation and intelligibility that you have to work on your stress management. Basically, if you are not able to convey or communicate your message, it is important to understand that you might not be able to convey that what the examiner want to ask from you. So if your pronunciation is not appropriate, there is a possibility that you might make errors for that. Okay, so first and foremost skill is the pronunciation, number one. Number second thing is basically the grammar. The grammar is also important thing. Like you have to have an idea about the different and density of the tenses, sentences. The tip and the crack for you if you are a beginner, that how would you improve your grammar. Let's say if you're working on part one, mostly in the part one they're going to ask you some general question about you, yourself, your hobbies, your education, or maybe your hometown, anything related to you. It's about you, your personality, your liking, disliking, your hometown and so on, some familiar topic from their daily life. So if they ask you a question in a tense like which kind of school you had attended when you were a child, so this is a crack. If you are on the basic level, you can answer in the same form, like using the had form or in the past tense, right? If they ask you a question that need you to answer in the continuous form in the present tense, use the continuous form in the present tense. So this is a crack for you. Just listen to this examiner, because they are certified, trained examiner. They would ask you a specific question, testing your vocabulary and all those four area. So use those tense in your answer and show the variety. If they ask you a question in the past simple or perfect tense, you may answer, design your answer in two form, maybe past simple and past perfect, and you need to practice that. Fluency. How would you improve your fluency? By practicing with your friends, family, because fluency is a skill that you need to equip with. It's the first thing, the first encounter that the examiner, you would be having with the examiner to understand that how much fluent you are. If you are a fluent person, you might be able to communicate your message in a proper manner, in appropriate way. You can be able to use the right form of the right word like vocabulary, or the lexical resources mean structured vocabulary. The most important mistakes that students do, it's just because of the fact that the teacher wants them to do this mistake. The mistake is that they try to impress the examiner. Don't do that. You cannot impress the examiner. Do not use fancy words. Do not use those words that, and the idioms. People try to equip the words from different, they try to memorize the vocabulary word and they try to use it in their speaking. So do not do that, please. Try to use the simple range of vocabulary. There should be range. And it should be your vocabulary, not a borrowed vocabulary. So try not to impress the examiner. Try to be like informal, make the flow of speech, and you have to learn that how would I improve my speaking from listening to the native resources, because every person have a margin to improve. Nobody is perfect. If you are a non-native speaker, we have a margin to improve. So you have to improve yourself day by day. So do not use the fancy words. Just use your own words, right? So we have discussed about the four areas like fluency, your grammar, your pronunciation, and your lexical resources. So based on that, you remark. So let's start with part A. In part A of IELTS speaking, as I discussed, these are the total familiar topic. They can ask you about yourself, who are you, your family members, your education background, maybe your hometown, maybe your likes, culture, your food and traveling and so on. The total time will be for part A somewhere between 4 to 5 minutes. Then we have part B. In part B, they will be giving you cue card. For that, you have 1 minute time for preparation, and we have basically 2 to 3 minutes time for speaking. The cue card can be from the diversity of the area. In the cue card, unlike part A, when you will be interactive with the examiner, in this part you have to speak at length for 2 minutes. So planning of the cue card is important under pressure, and obviously you need to practice hard to speak as much as you can. Most important skills beside pronunciation, as we discussed throughout your speaking, will be the fluency. You must work your skill to speak at length with natural pauses without hesitation. Speaking basically fluently need your confidence. It's a presentation skill that you have to develop. For that, again, you have to practice hard again and again under right supervision, right? So you need to understand the areas of the cue card. Maybe you can see the card most of the time. There will be a background statement. Then we have one line question and followed by the explanation. So accordingly, you will distribute your time. Obviously, background statement needs some time to speak on that. Then one line answer can be given in the answer in 1 or 2 lines. And then the last part, explanation, need you to explain at length. So keeping the 4 areas of the marking, you have to utilize those 4 areas, which include pronunciation, grammar, your lexical resources, and your fluency. Along with that, task management and task achievement is important criteria. Last but not last, and is least not least, as we'll say, the last thing is the part 3. Part 3 is basically the continuation of cue card. We sometimes have a follow-up question of cue card followed by the part C. Part C is a discussion. The examiner can check your ability to give your opinion, to have an argumentative speech, to discuss different point of view analytically. So basically these are 4 skills that will be tested, and the most important skills to get 7, 7.5 and 8 band, be natural. Do not try to use the fancy words. Do not use some density in the vocabulary word. Do not focus on the accent. They don't want you to have American or British accent. They want you to have your own accent. As long as your pronunciation is clear, it's totally fine. So this is the place M&M Institute is offering IELTS classes. And if you are having some problem with your speaking skills, this is the place. Why? First of all, we have classes. For whole week, we will guide you the tips and tricks, the basic ideas of the speaking, right? That is followed by a daily practice of speaking session. Like if you are not in Islamabad, or if you are not comfortable to come over here due to any reason, any unforeseen circumstances, like you have been facing in your daily life that is not allowing you to be there. So what you can do is that you can have the Zoom call with us at the given specific time from Monday to Friday. One of our examiner or the speaker will be engaged with you. In the speaking session, we'll conduct the speaking session on daily basis from Monday to Friday after your speaking week till the time you will be sitting your exam. And yes, we have a mock session. We are having at least I would say that 15 mocks for IELTS, and it's extendable. Like you want to take 15, 20, 25, you can do it in the same package, right? Okay, so why it's important to practice under right supervision? Because when you join M&M Institute, so basically you can see that that you will be giving a right opportunity to practice, and followed by the appropriate and accurate feedback that is as per standard. Thank you.